Americas. Hey everybody, I really hope you're here, and I really hope you can hear me. Um, I have had some terrible audio problems over the last couple of broadcasts, and I am doing my best to make sure that everything is sounding good. But I worked on this for a couple hours today, and I hate to keep apologizing for my technical abilities, but I'm just not that great at it. Anyway, this is my fourth broadcast. I appreciate all of you that have, kind of hung out with me. And actually, those that have been listening after, I really appreciate it. And it's an opportunity, to have something in the archives to go back to and refer to. But one of the things I wanted to spend time on today is legislation. And this has nothing to do with legislation, but me as a person. I'm not going to probably jump up and down like some of these video guys, and throw all this, energy and loudness and everything. I'm just going to have a conversation with you, and really, that's what I want to get across. Is I'm talking through this journey that I've been on, and this journey that I wrote about, Tragedy to Tribute, and just trying to articulate as best I can, with what remaining, time we have on this earth, to make sure that I've articulated in my mind, from my mind, what it is I'm trying to share, right? And what has happened and where I've been and the experiences, the people I've met, and really all of that. So tonight I wanted to focus on legislation. It's a topic of the book. It's a chapter in the book, both state legislation and federal legislation. And I thought if I could get everybody up to speed on that in the context of one broadcast, then I would be able to, leave the knowledge that I have accumulated and the experience that I've accumulated, in one place, in 1 30-minute, and hopefully we'll get this done in 30 minutes. I know I've been saying I was going to try to read from the book, and I just don't know if I can read from the book because, we'll just see. Anyway, when this mission began in 2008, really, my son was killed in 2005. I went through a couple of years of just fog, of meeting families and hearing their stories and sharing with them, and all of that process, really, of grieving, and not sure what I wanted to do with myself and where I wanted to go, and all of that. Fast forward, though, right as we unveiled the flag on Memorial Day of 2008 at MacArthur Memorial. Take off some of this. MacArthur Memorial in downtown Norfolk. One of the attendees was Congresswoman Thelma Drake. Now, Thelma was in her last year of Congress. This was the second year of, there are 2-year sessions. And she came, spoke, we unveiled the flag. It was a wonderful ceremony. Within a few months of that, actually in September, when I was in Washington presenting a personalized flag to the president of the American Gold Star Mothers, Georgie Krell at that time, and also one of her staff, one of her board members, Molly Morell, and presented flags to them. While I was there, while Patty and I were actually there, I got a call from Thelma Drake's office saying that she introduced the Honor and Remember Flag Recognition Bill. And I thought, oh my gosh, how perfect was this? how not coincidental, if you believe in coincidences, that on the same day I was presenting to the American Gold Star Mothers, there was a bill introduced in Congress. I mean, that began the start of my naivete, right? Of not understanding Congress at all, or what Congress, how they operate, and what their processes are. Boy, did I have a lot to learn. But I was excited. Here it was, September of '08, the last session, last congressional session of 2 years. And I thought, man, we're going to get this passed right away. Here I introduced it, and by the same year, by the end, we're going to have a national flag, just as I had envisioned. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'll tell you that Congress goes to sleep October through December. The last quarter, they're not doing anything. And remember, I said it was the second year of a 2-year session. So what was happening? Re-elections. Everybody was out trying to save their jobs. They were not looking at anything important in Washington at all. So nothing was being considered. And I thought, I didn't learn this till later, but Thelma was out, and she was not my congresswoman. She was in an adjacent district. But my congressman, Randy Forbes, dialogued with Thelma, and he agreed to introduce the next bill. Now, you can look up the numbers of these bills in the book. I mean, I've got it all categorized. But I thought, great. So now we're talking about 2009, 2010, that congressional session. That was the year I decided that I was going to drive across America. I was going to drive to all 50 states. I know you can't drive to Alaska and Hawaii, but I did go to both of those states. And I drove 39,000 miles and ended up in Arlington Cemetery on Memorial Day of 2010. So 2009, 2010 was that congressional session. Nothing happened. Well, what did I say? 2009 was a congressional session. Sorry, get my facts right. 2010 is when I decided to drive across the country. And at the end of 2010, that congressional session was over, right? But so nothing had happened in 9 and 10, except that we had gotten Virginia to legislate the flag in 2010 as a state symbol. So in 2010, I decided that I was going to drive across the country, and that was the end. We ended up in Arlington on Memorial Day of 2010. So now we're into 2011, 2012. And I thought, all right, I've been across the country. I went to every state capital. I visited with senators, with congressmen, with governors all over the country. I've laid the groundwork now. The path is clear. So I asked Forbes if he would introduce it in 2011, 2012. And so one of the next big picture project that I thought I would do is I was going to move to Washington. And I was going to kickstart this bill, and I was going to visit every single office, 541 offices, including all the territories. And I was going to visit every single office over 2 months, and I would literally put myself in everybody's face and get this bill passed. That was my objective. Certainly, a Gold Star father walking around the halls of Congress would get this thing done. And, with the help of staff, I had, I think, over 300. I think I visited every single office. I had face-to-face meetings with over 300 plus of the offices, whether it was a representative themselves or the staff. And at the end of that visit to Washington, we had 156 co-sponsors on the bill. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. How could it not? I keep using the word no-brainer. It literally is a no-brainer, folks. I mean, what we are trying to achieve, what this vision is to leave a nationally recognized icon, a symbol, a messenger, if you will. You know, something I came up with the other day. I was thinking about the flag is actually a messenger, and it sends a message to every Gold Star family that we will never meet, that we will never be able to recognize, that no one will ever know, because there are generations of them. So no matter what the casualty is, or how blatant or horrific the event was that took lives, that we that we note and honor, this flag would recognize every single one, everyone, every casualty type, if they died while serving or as a result of serving. This is huge. There's nothing like this. There's never been anything like this. And here's an opportunity for our political representatives to actually make a statement beyond the statement that they've made to all of us. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do? They say these personal words, I guess in the hopes that if we say something, they would do it, right? Yeah, there's something you can do. You can, I don't know, put my son's name on a street or on a bridge, or I don't know what power they actually have. I don't know what they're asking. But the power that they do have, I believe, is to gift this idea of national remembrance. National remembrance. Why not? I mean, how can you find fault with that? I don't know. So 156 co-sponsors, and then later on that year, I got a call and they said, well, if I'm not going to go into the details of that. It didn't work. 2011, 2012, nothing happened. As a matter of fact, I told them to kill the bill because they wanted to do some convoluted process that wasn't going to work anyway, because bills in Washington, I don't really have time to explain everything to you, but probably less than 5% of bills in Washington ever get any kind of attention. Less than 5%. It's probably closer right now to 2%. So if you think about it, all the lobbyists that are up there, all the individuals that have their own agenda, all the corporations trying for one thing or another. I mean, there's a lot of topics up there. There's thousands, right? So you can imagine if only 1 or 2% are ever heard, then, and it's reset every 2 years. It's, it keeps people employed forever. It's just it's a mess. So something has to rise above it, above the fray, above the noise. Something, important. Apparently, it's not this, right? I mean, after all, right? We're celebrating freedom. We like to have ceremonies. We like to point out individual sacrifice. There's a lot of things we like to do. But to me, the most important thing as a nation to remember is that we can't celebrate. We can't celebrate without recognizing the lives that are not here at the table, enjoying the freedom that they gave us. They're not here to raise their families, to advance their careers, to enjoy the beauty that this world has for us, that this country, I'm just so grateful to have been born in this country, I will tell you that. There's not another country like it. So why can't we all come together and agree that one of the most important things we can do is to at least acknowledge those that gave us everything we have? How hard is that? But these men and women aren't here. Their families are. Their families need to know that they just didn't sacrifice their loved ones for nothing. Be appreciative. That's all that Honor and Remember is. It's a messenger of appreciation. It's a way that we can communicate to those families who we will never know. And you can't even tell me that it's not important. I mean, there are a lot of things out there that we're trying to do for one group or another group, but there's nothing that covers everyone. This is the only tangible symbol in America. I mean, it's not even a monument. You could put a monument up, but only so many people are going to go see it. I did some research a few years ago, and the most number of individuals that ever visit the most visited monument in Washington is like 4 million. Okay, that's not anywhere near the population. But with this flag, we can reach them all, and we can send a message to every family. So legislation, getting me sidetracked. That didn't work. And so I decided, I got fed up with Washington. I said, that's it. I'm going to go out and I am going to talk to the states. Because why? Because these men and women lived in a state. They may or may not have owned land. Of course, with their families, I'm sure they did. And so they died for what? For their family, for the territory they live in, for the state, right, that they decided to plant themselves. And so the states should actually step up and say, we need to honor those men and women that gave their lives. Yeah, for their country, but for our state. Right? How important would that be? So that's been the journey. That was the journey for quite a while. It actually was the journey until I got over half the country, 26 states, adopted. 26 state adoptions. Legislated that the Honor and Remember flag was their state symbol of remembrance. And I thought, now I'm going back to Congress. I've got 26 states, over half the country. So at that point, I went to my new congressman, Representative Donald Meacham, and I asked him to introduce the bill. And he did. And I can't remember when that was. So we've now had 3 bills in Congress, maybe 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I went to Don and I asked him. He said yes, but nothing happened for 2 years. Nothing happened. In my naive thinking, I'm thinking that someone who introduces a bill is going to be a champion for that bill, that they're not going to think about anything else. Yeah, I know they have other bills and other agendas, but this becomes a priority for them. They want it to happen, and so they're going to be talking about it. I mean, look at me. I would be in everybody's face every day, just like I was in 2011, with a 30-second elevator speech, asking them to get on that bill. At that time was HR 546. Get on that bill. And that's how I got 156 co-sponsors. This is what I think a congressman champion should do. He should be stirring up, making noise, talking to people. Am I going to run out of time? I got some time. And so Don didn't do anything for 2 years. Then he didn't do anything for another 2 years. And nothing happened. And honestly, I was still working on other things. I'm trying to make this flag the most recognizable symbol in America. I'm out there with all the volunteers around me trying to make a difference in the states and presenting flags to families and doing everything we can to get as much attention as possible, right? Because we want this to be recognized. We want people to understand what it means. And I can't put all of my marbles on believing that somehow this is going to be a national symbol and do nothing else. And so in 2018, we ran across America to make what? To make a statement. We started Run for the Fallens in 2012, and now this is our 14th year, I believe, of doing Run for the Fallens. I mean, we have been doing everything we can to make noise and to get attention. But now, well, let me step up one more session. Representative Don Davis stepped in. He is from North Carolina. He was a former mortuary affairs officer. He understood what loss means to these families. He was instrumental in getting the flag adopted in the state of North Carolina. He was running for Congress. He won, and he wanted to introduce the honor member flag into that congressional session. And so we talked about it. I was excited that he was going to be a champion, and really nothing happened. No offense, Don. We are now into Don's second term as congressman, and we are also, I think what had to happen was he was a freshman. He needed to get his feet wet. He needed to understand the room, so to speak, right? Get the ground rules. And so he got reelected, and we introduced the bill again. This is our 7th bill in Congress. But the interesting thing is that he understood how important really this means to the country and to the families. And he got a little bit more serious about it. And he assigned us a legislative assistant to actually work Congress, to actually work Capitol Hill in a proactive way of proactive strategy to actually have this bill passed. Now, it's still Congress. It's still Capitol Hill. They're still only doing 1-2% of bills, if that. If you're paying attention, they're not doing much except whatever they have to keep things from shutting down. But we are further along than we have ever been in getting this bill passed. And so legislation right now is on a very, very fast pace. We have a bill, 1363. And remember that we are in our 250th anniversary of our country's inception, right? It's our birthday. We're not going to get to 250 again, right? This is a milestone. If you all remember when we were at 200, what a big deal that was, right? Now we're at 250. Nobody cared about 249. Nobody's going to care about 251. So my goal for those who are listening, or if you're listening after Memorial Day, it's okay. You can celebrate with us or you can lament. But my goal is that we target Memorial Day of 2026 for an actual bill signing, for an actual completion and codification of 1363 by the President on Memorial Day of 2026. What better day in our country's history to recognize that 250 years of freedom did not come without the 250 years of sacrifice of the men and women who got us to this point, who are not here to celebrate with us. I dare anybody to argue that fact to me. I dare anyone to argue that fact to me. We have got to celebrate the lives that brought us here. And the honor and remember flag is the truest, most sincere, and direct method of sending a message of thanks to every family of every generation who has ever lost a military loved one. Is the only way I know of. Challenge me on that. And so I'm on a path, a really fast path for the next 90 days. I think I have said previously that I'm writing a letter to the president personally every single day, and it's something I am doing. I wrote my 53rd letter today, and I'm mailing a letter every day. But it's going to be more than that. This bill is in the Judiciary Committee, and the only way it's going to come out of any bills coming out of any committee is if the members of that committee and the chairman of that committee want to hear that bill. They have to know it exists, and they have to want it to come out of committee and bring what's called a markup, to a hearing. And we have 90 days to make that happen. After 90 days, we'll re-strategize and figure something out. But how amazing would it be for the president, the only president really in our history that has actually made a statement that would embrace every Gold Star family in America? It's never been done before. This is his opportunity. So we need to get 1363 noticed. We need to get it passed. And I need your help. I need everybody who's listening to this to help. Write. You can write to your own congressman. That's great. That will help. But if you can get to any of the members on the Judiciary Committee or to Jim Jordan himself and let them know that you, as a Gold Star family, as a patriot, as a citizen, are grateful that somebody gave their life so that you or your loved ones didn't have to. It's a simple, very simple gesture that I'm asking you to make. We have an initiative called the Declaration of Remembrance. I've mentioned it several times. It is an initiative that will get more attention, that will get more notice. And if you haven't signed that Declaration of Remembrance, please do. I'll put it up one more time. declarationofremembrance.com, and join with me on this journey. I mean, those of you who are out there that realize the importance of this, how amazing is it going to be standing in Washington when that bill is recognized, when these families are finally given an appreciation from a grateful nation. Not just a folded flag, that goes on a shelf, but a flag that flies a message louder than thunder. Thank you. Thank you for what you have given me, right? I used this example once. If your neighbor came over and, I don't know, saw that you were in a life-threatening situation and he saved your life, you would be forever grateful. I mean, you would be doing everything for that neighbor. If he needed his grass cut, you'd cut his grass. If he needed a meal, you'd give him a meal. If he needed a ride, you'd give him a ride. You would do everything in your power to make sure that he knew that you appreciated that. It's the same thing. These men and women, they enlisted. They didn't have to. Tony could have stayed home. He was smart. He was on a pathway to be very successful. But he decided that he would join the armed forces and that he would put his life on the line. Not just for us, but for others in another country. He's just one of thousands, of millions, really. What's the least that we can do? Say thank you. The least we can do is be appreciative. And that's all I'm asking. Fly the Honor Remember flag. Even if it becomes nationally recognized, it's still not going to be everywhere. We still need state adoptions. If you have a flagpole, put it up. These are all simple things. And no matter what your objection, I really haven't found an objection yet that makes any sense. It isn't. People gave their lives for you. How do you appreciate them? You don't know them. How do you send a message? How do you communicate? You know, there's a lot of people out there, they say they care about Gold Star families. How many? You care about a couple because you know them? I mean, really, think about it. I'm giving you a way to say thank you to all of them, to everyone in the community that you'll never meet. Yeah, help make this a reality. So anyway, that's my rant on legislation. Uh, we are on this trajectory to make this happen. If you can help, please let me know, and let's get it done. Let's all be in Washington together, and let's make this a reality. Nobody's going to care about 251. This is it, guys. If you want it to happen, this is the year. 250. It's going to be one of the most significant statements a president could ever make. God bless you guys. I think I am out of time. I appreciate you, and hey, we'll go back at it next week, and love you and appreciate all that you're doing out there to make this work. God bless you, and yeah, see you next